Protests are taking place in Jerusalem outside offices of the UN Relief Agency for Palestinians, UNRWA. Dozens of Israelis are demanding the return of hostages and are accusing UNRWA of involvement in the Hamas-led terror attacks on October the 7th. Now, this comes as an independent review of those charges, first levelled in January by the Israeli government, is due. Earlier, Israel denied UNRWA chief Philippe Lazzarini access to Gaza. He's warning that the territory faces a man-made famine. His agency is trying to win back funding that was suspended by donor nations after Israel made those accusations of UNRWA's involvement. And for more on this, I'm joined now by DW's Rebecca Ritters, who's at UNRWA headquarters in Jerusalem. Rebecca, there are these protests underway where you are. What is it the people are demanding exactly?
Well, Annie, you can see behind me, I am outside the headquarters, and this is where for the last couple of hours protesters have been gathering, though it's really dwindled now to just a couple of dozen. At its biggest, I'd say there were certainly less than 100 people here. So it's a relatively small protest, much smaller than protest organisers were expecting, and also the media, who here it sometimes outnumbered the protesters. But when you speak to the protesters, they say despite its size, they really are speaking for a broad spectrum of Israeli society. And we have indeed been hearing horns of support being honked as drivers pass by, but that hasn't really resulted in a huge turnout here today. These people are calling on UNRWA to release the hostages, as they've been chanting. They say that UNRWA equals Hamas, so they're really putting a lot of blame into the United Nations Organization for Palestinian Refugees, saying that it is a mindset that they have been perpetrating, that have been allowed to, have been encouraging over the decades, that have really set the mindset for an attack like October 7. They're placing a lot of blame. They had, you can possibly see behind me, they have a display here of body bags, and they've created a UN vehicle as though those body bags are inside the vehicle, being taken outside, placing blame fair and square on the UNRWA organisation. But as I say, it has been a very small protest, and though some of what these people are saying does have broad spectrum support, it remains to be seen just how much that is more of a widespread opinion here in Israel.
So this interim report on the alleged role of UNRWA in the October the 7th terror attacks on Israel is due to be released. Can you just tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, this is an independent report that was commissioned by the head of UNRWA, in fact, Philippe Lazzarini, just shortly after those accusations were made by Israel in late January that 12 staff members of UNRWA were involved in in the attack of October 7. The report was commissioned, and we're expecting the report today, the preliminary report. That isn't expected to be made public. It's just going to be going to the member states. That we can expect that perhaps some leaks will come out of the report, and we will be hearing some of what's in it, but we can expect to hear the final report that is going to be released to the public later in next month, towards the end of April. Now, its remit is to look at the neutrality of UNRWA, how they hire their staff, and of course how they reacted to the accusations after they were revealed at the end of January that some employees were in fact involved in the attack. So not so much more information that we're going to be able to tell you today, but hopefully in the coming weeks, we'll have a lot more information about that independent report.
Rebecca, thanks so much. That's DW's Rebecca Ritters reporting from Jerusalem.